The following is a Scotch Media production.
I got news for you. Greatness is a thing that you earn, right? And if you can't start with enough humility to close your mouth because you have just one and open your ears because, well, you're blessed with two and hear something, it doesn't matter what wisdom's thrown your way. You're never going to absorb it. This young generation has a listening problem.
You ready to start?
Yeah, man, let's do this.
Corey
Yes.
Arnold.
Hi.
This man he piqued my interest quick. He piqued my little DARs went immediately because the story's unique and
thank you.
different. I don't know how to sum you up, pal. Like I am. Give me the elevator pitch on you.
I'll put it to you like this. Entrepreneur, I've worked for myself my whole life. I like influencing others for the positive. I find myself being a business coach these days after having stepped out of most of my own organizations. I'm married, love my beautiful wife, Christy, got two beautiful daughters, Chloe and Ivy. We live out in the country. Fun for me is a weekend on my tractor. I was recently asked where I could be found. I think they wanted to know what my handle was for my Instagram.
Yes.
My answer was you can find me on my John Deere wearing my Liberty overalls in Walton County because that's where you can find me.
Proud.
At very, I mean, I guess I've got social media, but I don't necessarily need to be found, if you know what I mean.
You're being coy. You are playing coy, and you know it.
Oh, we're just getting started.
We're just getting started. Why are you teasing me?
Well, you got to work for it. If I
know,
gave
that's
it up
all right.
right
It's like,
away, no fun.
I'm going to let you keep. Zzz.
Yeah, come on. I'm going to set that hook.
I'm letting you roll. Go. Please continue, my good friend.
Oh, gosh. Working on finding peace. There's a big one.
Aren't we all?
I have spent so many years of my life, I wouldn't say in the public eye, but public enough for me. And that can be really challenging. It can be really demanding on a person. And I don't know that it's my proclivity to be super outgoing, which is why I enjoy my farm so much, why I enjoy this stage of my life where I'm focused on me, I'm focused on my family, I'm focused on finding that peace, that tranquility that life has. I've spent the first half of my life as a driver, pushing forward, breaking down barriers, creating businesses and opportunities. And whereas there's a big drive in me to do that, as I age, I'm more interested in helping others do the same. I don't have to be the guy in front with my sword drawn, yelling charge. I can encourage some other young people to do the same. And I think there's a great need for that nowadays in this world. There's not enough mentors pouring into the next generation. Glad to be part of it,
Bro, I could preach mentors.
Yeah.
It's the number one thing we're missing right now.
No, the number one thing that's missing is good listenership. You can be a great mentor, but if the people that you're working with aren't paying attention, you're wasting your time. There's not
Correct.
My father used to say it like this, Pete. The good Lord gave you two ears and one mouth, and you should use them in that order. Right?
We say that all the time.
Preach, man. Come on.
We say
Oh.
that all the
It's my
time.
number one saying.
Well, it's true.
It's my number one saying.
Yeah.
Knew we loved you.
I fucking knew it.
Kindred spirits.
I knew it.
I can't claim a lot of the wisdom that I profess. I have to give credit where credit is due. There were a number of qualified mentors in my young life, and not the least of which, probably the greatest of which, was my own father. He passed away in December a year ago.
No, sorry to hear that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. He was a huge personality in my life and in the life of a lot of people. What a great guy. So as we go through this today, a lot of the one-liners, the tidbits of wisdom that you hear roll off my tongue so smoothly aren't mine. They're my father's. Steve Arnold, great man.
He's definitely the powder in the powder keg. I'd say, right, like he was the flint.
But the fact is, we all stand on the shoulders of the giants who came before us. There's not a single thing out there that any of us have to offer to ourselves or someone else that hasn't been known by others before us. It's just repackaged. It looks different. It sounds different, maybe. The wisdom's the same.
All the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not building, redesigning the wheel here. It's
Right.
It's just repackaging in a new sense of that's how we see it.
There's nothing new. It's only new to you.
Everybody tries to find a hack.
Mm-hmm.
And the hack is literally just the people standing right in front of you
Yes.
that can go, don't do that. Or do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Or do that a little more. And that's where it's this unbelievable, I could be a millionaire by myself and I could build my own empire. And it's like, man, you got to have someone help you lay the concrete. Like, I don't care how strong you are. Like,
But
you
in
got to have
order-
someone lift a wall.
And in order to take that help and receive that help, you have to listen.
You have to be humble.
And
Humble.
it goes back to the listening and and being humble. Yeah, you're right.
There's so many young people out there that they had the fortunate benefit of being raised in a nice household, and they had loving parents, and those parents told them that they were great. So says your parents. I got news for you. Greatness is a thing that you earn, right? And if you can't start with enough humility to close your mouth because you have just one, and open your ears because, well, you're blessed with two, and hear something, it doesn't matter what wisdom's thrown your way. You're never going to absorb it. This young generation has a listening problem. But didn't every young generation?
Yeah.
I mean, candidly, I can't say that I was that different.
We
I'm
were
just-
the MTV generation. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Some
you're
of those
right there with
names.
us. Where are you? How old are you?
46.
Yeah, you're
Martha Stewart, right?
Wait, no, he's not an Xer, is he?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
you're
Gen
an Xer.
X. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're with us.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
with us. MTV generation.
And you're-
Yep.
Listen, I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
I came home and let myself in the
Yeah,
house.
same.
Cooked my own food. I did for myself. My parents divorced when I was young, so I grew up mostly with my mother. My father was around, but it was a stereotypical 80s and 90s upbringing in Gwinnett County, which back then was purely middle class. It was, I would say, very typical of that generation. Very typical. And great, I it wasn't perfect, but I'm so thankful that I was raised in a time period where we didn't have cell phones.
Same.
God almighty, can you imagine?
I don't know how you do
No.
it.
I feel for my daughters. It's like, hey, girls, you want to go outside, like, see the sunshine? Oh, no, it's up here, kids. Their face buried in the phone.
Well, it's just such a weird way. I don't. It's to me, it's this hiding bullshit. Where it's like, I remember when the first time my first job gave me a pager. I remember that.
Were you a drug dealer?
Yes,
Got a pager, huh, Pete?
I was a. Well, I was a
Pete's pager.
Pete's pager. This is you have to remember back in the day,
Blowing up
blowing it up
for a dime bag.
for a dime bag. Still, no.
Well-
those are days beyond.
Nobody ever did anything really wrong for a dime bag.
I should be acquitted. It was years ago.
I should ask you before we get too far into this, is this PG?
No, not
Okay.
really.
All right.
No.
Nobody ever sucked a dick for a joint. You know what I mean? It's not how it works.
You can say that.
Okay.
I have actually. It's funny. I've had to try. My favorite word is fuck.
Well, it's multifunctional, really.
It's my favorite word. And my mom said about it, she goes, Peter, the way you say it's almost like art. It's like you say it so well. It's like you don't offend me the way you say it.
Wow.
And I was like, my mother being like, wow, right? And it's
Wow.
like, and I've tried very hard because I was like, I'm more than that word, but I love it, and I love saying it, and I just like sometimes I just can't. And Mars got to the point where she's like, just try to not do it in the first 8-9 seconds.
But you do realize.
And we're a good 10 minutes in,
It took a minute, but here we are.
but we like
all
literally,
good.
bro,
Well, we've both been holding back. Let's be honest.
I've got to do. I'm blue.
Well,
I'm a little excited.
it's the backlighting.
It-
Do you realize, and I think there's studies about this, that the more frequently used the vulgarity in your speech, the higher your intelligence?
Yes.
Oh, I must have been Tesla. Look, we should like a montage would be really good now
Keep
of talking
splitting
balls.
the atom.
Bro, I'm not joking. Like Oppenheimer, move over, whatever that guy's name is. Like, if it is based off of pure profanity from your mouth,
Listen, I mean, it's you and Elon Musk, man. Like, y'all are like this. You could be twins.
Got
he
nothing on him.
calls me sometimes. He's like, "What's wrong with the rocket?" I'm like, "The fucking rocket, Elon."
Right.
What do you mean? He's like, "That's it. I just needed a little."
Thank you, Pete.
He's like, "Thank you, Pete." And I was like,
Yeah.
"No problem, buddy."
Don't forget to send him a Christmas card.
I don't. I was like, "Get that." I'm like, "Said that and get the truck out. Get the goddamn truck out."
The
Elon.
Cybertruck? Yeah.
I don't want one. I just get it. I'm tired of this fucking thing.
It looks cool, doesn't it?
Tired of waiting on it?
It looks like was that movie back in our day? Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
It looks kind of or like Time Cop.
Was Blade Runner was that a Wesley Snipes thing?
No, Blade Runner was back
Was
in the
that
day.
Arnold?
Was no. Harrison Ford was the original. Was Blade Runner was Harrison Ford,
Yes.
but it also could look very Demolition Man, Sylvester Stallone. It just looks I don't think it's going to age well.
Yeah, maybe not. It's a little early to say.
Your truck ages well.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
That thing, you could put that thing in any time period, and that thing is just...
Tell them what it is, Pete.
It is the Ram TRX Raptor.
Well,
Oh,
close.
no. Pete's in love.
Well,
What?
Raptor's the Ford. The TRX
in
is the
love.
Dodge.
No, I'm sorry. It's the TRX, the T-Rex.
Yes, it's
Yes,
the
I'm sorry.
Hellcat truck.
Because you threw me off because you said, well, I got rid of my Raptor for this. And I went,
Now you're making me sound like an asshole.
No
no,
wonder.
no. You have earned every fucking thing you have, my friend.
Well, I've been very blessed.
You have been... No, and you have turned it. That is... No, don't ever.
Well-
that is the most...
See, I didn't see the truck when you came in, and Pete's like, "I'm in love," and now I get it.
I was
it's
like,
the Raptor. Yeah.
No, it's the
Mhm.
T-Rex.
It's the yeah,
which
yeah,
eats
yeah.
the Raptor.
Yeah.
This thing, it looks like there's a Raptor inside.
Inside of it.
That it's gonna open and a little Raptor's gonna come out.
Well, it certainly has a lot of power. Yeah, I mean, it's almost frightening. But it's the trappings, right? It's the stuff that comes from the things that you do that really matter. You know, and I'll be honest with you, Pete, as I have gained a certain level of success in my life, the things that come along with that are less and less important to me.
I don't want shit anymore.
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't give a shit. Like, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't.
well, because it's all kind of garbage. And I'm
It
not
doesn't
even,
mean anything.
It doesn't mean a damn thing. It's just
so
a truck.
true.
It's
It
cool.
doesn't
So
fucking
true.
mean anything.
Absolutely. So, and it begs the question then, like, well, what does?
Right.
You know, if the things aren't what matter,
Right.
and don't get me wrong, it's hard to be upset on the back of a jet ski, right? You know, we've all said jokes like that before. So things are, it doesn't suck. It's just not what it's about.
Right.
And I think, you know, because you asked me earlier, you know, where am I? Where's this going? I'm on a journey to figure out what really does matter. And it's been interesting so far, you know, and it's a moving target, frankly. You know, as a young man, I thought it was the stuff that mattered. The success. Man, the more successful I get, the more I just kind of want to be quiet. The more I seem to know, the less I seem to know. So, again, 2 ears and 1 mouth, you know, like listen more and speak less. I don't know if that goes really well on a podcast, but
It goes very well. Like, because it's, one, people are listening.
yeah.
And you have a great message. We spoke about your dad and this stuff, and because he, like I said, he was the flint, right? Maybe he was the
Indeed.
kindling.
Absolutely.
Take me from like pest control.
Okay.
Like early on, the pictures I saw of you, probably a third the size of the man, which is a whole nother.
Yes, there's a
Right, 'cause
story
there's-
behind that as well.
If the tree goes strong, it's got to have a good, right?
Yeah.
Like you talked about Pop and Pop setting you up and giving you great wisdoms. He also kind of gave you just enough of that to go.
Well, I certainly had a front row seat to what a real entrepreneur looks like. And that's, you know, people talk about privilege, and I know that that's dangerous territory, right? I absolutely acknowledge the fact that I had privilege. And my privilege was having a father that wanted to teach me certain things that would help me grow, become the man that I am today, both professionally and personally.
That's real privilege.
It really was. You know, it's not
Yeah,
about money. It's about, I had a father who started his own pest control company in 1976. I was born in 78. As a kid, I never had a summer. I never had a spring break. I never had a Christmas break. If I wasn't in school, I was at work from the time I was little. And doing things like riding around on a termite crew, you know, dragging hose or extension cord through somebody's crawl space right here in Metro Atlanta. A lot of these houses in downtown I'm familiar with because of that experience.
Yeah, we spoke when you came in. You're like, I know this area.
And that's why. In the early days as a kid, you know, I was frustrated. I hated it. You know, my friends get to go somewhere to the beach, let's say, for spring break. Nope, not me. I'm going to Decatur to do a termite treatment. Super.
Fun.
It wasn't. But it instilled in me a lot of the values, the work ethic, the sort of things that are necessary in a person who's going to make it long term. And I didn't know that, but my father damn sure did. So for that, I'm eternally grateful. He created opportunities for me to get uncomfortable. He forced me to do things that I would have otherwise not done, like joining leads clubs, you know, getting up in front of groups of people and speaking. Nobody wants to do that naturally, not really. But because of his encouragement, I did that. So to kind of get to the point about the pest control business, I went to college, University of Georgia, go Dogs. Got a business degree. Frankly, college, I learned how to hit on girls and hold my liquor. That's what I learned in college, right?
It's about what the value
Standard
was
experience.
for me.
Totally. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just that's probably an all too common story. So after college, I went to work for the family business, and
That's a whole nother talk of.
for sure, I got lots of those stories
Bro,
that none are appropriate for here.
well, not even that. Just the college and upper education in itself at this point of.
Oh,
Like
candidly, it's a shit show. It's a gigantic waste of money and time. Unless you're going to be a very specific professional that's required.
Yeah.
I fucking feel like I'm saying this shit myself.
Yeah, listen, you want to be rich these days? Go be a
Be a
plumber.
trade.
100%.
Do a trade. Be a trade. Hang siding.
That's what I preach in my business coaching these days.
I know you do.
That's how you get rich these days.
Ain't it though? So, and that's my background now. Is I grew up in the pest control industry. My father eventually decided to retire. I went through every role the company had. It took a decade. And I was ready, and he stepped aside. He still owned the business, but for the next 5 or 6 years, I ran it. Me and my first cousin ended up buying the business from my dad, and I think that was 2011. So we survived the 2008 downturn, learned a lot there. During this period of time, I was given access to the CPAs, the attorneys, the type of business professionals that you would expect to encounter in an established business. And these folks poured into me. Those were my early mentors along with my father. They taught me how to run business. They taught me about cash flow management, risk management, HR issues, hiring and firing, all the things it takes to run business well. Didn't have a lot to do with bugs. And that was the real surprise, right? I thought I was going into the bug business. No, I'm in the people business. I'm in the service business. I'm in the business of business. So fast forward a few years, and the business had Peachtree Pest Control was the company name. Did quite well. At one point, we had 9 offices in 3 states with 115 employees. Ooh. So it was quite a large organization. A friend of mine called me out of the blue, and he said, "Man, I got a business opportunity. I wondered if you're interested." And I said, "What you got, buddy?" "I know of a plumbing business that's for sale. Do you want to buy it with me?" Well, I'm not a plumber. I kind of joked a little bit with him, laughed, and said, "Absolutely not doing it." Well, I got off the phone and I prayed. And Jesus said, "The answer's not no." He didn't quite say it was yes, but I certainly knew that it wasn't a no. So I called my buddy back and I said, "Man, let's give this a shot." So we bought this plumbing business. And that's the moment I realized that in the service trades, everything from the point of sale backwards is the same. The cash flow, the risk management, the hiring and firing, the fleet, buying trucks, equipping with inventory, all the things it takes to run a home service business is identical from the knock on that front door backwards. And you hire for the skill set. You can hire the plumber, just like you can hire the pest control operator. And you can hire the management team who understands the trade and can see to that. That's the moment I realized that entrepreneurship is something that can be duplicated. There are certain basic fundamental rules that the business world has, and if you apply them correctly, you can duplicate that success. So I took what I learned in the pest control industry and applied it to the plumbing trade. And we took that business and doubled it the first year, doubled it again the second year, doubled it again the third year, and then sold it. In the meantime, I started an insulation company called Georgia Insulation. We took that from a startup to a multi-million-dollar company in just a few years. I won't tell you some of the hows because that's nowadays I'm a business coach, so you're going to have to pay for that. You know what I mean?
We're going to talk about that later.
Right?
We'll
Hey,
put
no,
up a nice little sign right about
hey,
here.
no freebies.
For information, contact.
I don't know that there was ever a great plan to go through what I've been through. Sometimes life is more about just putting one foot in front of the other, taking advantage of good opportunities that come available, being strategic about your life, making goals, goal setting. In fact, Pete, I could show you a file right now in my home office where I've got written specific goals every year from 2008 to current. And
Incredible.
It's in 5 categories. Can I share this real quick?
Yeah,
Sure.
please.
Hey.
Please.
It's the 5 F's: faith, family, fitness, finance, and future.
Ooh.
The 5 F's. And every one of those categories needs at least 3.
Ooh.
That has been a compass in my life. My father used to say, "Son, you have to have a plan and you have to work that plan." Yeah. A plan's something that you have to be able to communicate. You have to articulate, which means you've got to be able to write it down, be specific about it, put words to it, understand it, review it frequently. It's one of the many basic premises that I've applied to my business, my life over the years, and Well, I'd like to think it's paid off. Candidly, I have an awful lot of people call me and ask for my advice, so I guess they think I'm doing it right. So far, so good.
You had me in
So
about
you're doing
15
it right.
minutes.
Yeah.
You had me.
I'd say you're doing something right.
Well,
You're doing. You could have been a social figure in the sense of, and I loved how you went back. You go, and I said no. I just stopped. I didn't want to go that. Like it's, and I'm not saying that's what has to happen nowadays because you are 100% successful on your own and doing your own thing. But you like for a second that you saw a flash of I could go, and you went.
yeah.
It's funny because everybody nowadays goes,
Everybody wants to be an influencer.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
no
you
thanks.
and you were just like you saw like it teed up for you, pal. Like you scream.
The fact is, we're all influencers. It's just who are you influencing and what are you influencing, right? I don't care about my Instagram handle or who my followers are or what they think about it.
Fucking care.
Yeah, what I do care about is am I living a life that honors me and my family, my daughters, the folks who poured into me early on in my career? Am I honoring them with how I'm choosing to live? Am I setting an example for those around me as to how they should live? I'd like to think so. Yeah, I can't tell you that I'm always doing a great job of that. Occasionally look away, you know what I mean? But most of the time, I'd like to think I'm living up to the standards that I have set for myself and that others would be proud to associate with.
That's concentration. Like when we talked, I put my hand on your shoulder and I was like, Christ. It was like touching a brisket. You ever get a brisket at the store and you touch like, holy, that's a big muscle.
Wow. I've never been described as a brisket.
As a brisket.
It's a very fatty meat.
Not
But
this.
that's
Not,
okay.
not after I've trimmed it. Nice.
Really?
I trim it nicely.
No. It's one of my faves.
I'll make you a brisket.
I've actually got one at the house. We just got a whole quarter cow, like a frozen quarter cow
You
butchered.
do that?
Yeah.
We've been dying to do that.
Well, I live in the country.
Yeah.
So my property line is a cattle farmer. So I just go over there and be
You're
like, can I get a cow, please?
Be a quarter. And he's like, all right.
It's the least the man can do for fertilizing his fields with chicken shit twice a year.
I mean,
My God.
Is it awful?
Ugh.
I'm really jealous of your life. I gotta be honest.
We have chickens. Did I mention
I
that?
want
and
chicken.
hawks.
Yes, my wife's a falconer. So
Yeah.
and don't let the red-tailed hawk and chickens don't belong together.
No,
That's
they're
not
not friends.
No. No, they're chicken nuggets. Yeah. And the hawk is really more like it's just like a meat-eating chicken. It's not any brighter than the other chickens. Have you had familiarity with chickens? Like
Yeah,
personal?
they're not.
I heard they're
smart,
just kinda
right?
dumb-
but
dumb
they're
as shit,
just
right?
they're fun. They're funny. Right?
Candidly, chickens are more like dinosaurs. I mean, really, they are. Oh, listen, if you pass out in the chicken coop, which I haven't done,
They'll
but
peck you and stuff.
you wouldn't survive it. They would eat you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're violent, man.
Yeah.
Our rooster's name is Elvis.
I love it.
Are they a pain in the ass?
I mean, it's not super convenient to have to, you got to feed them and water them, of course, and get the eggs every day. And it's super novel for a little while. But we've had them for a number of years now. So, man, in the summertime when you're shoveling chicken shit out of the coop, it's not fun. But generally speaking, I still like my chickens.
Yeah.
I talk to them.
So they can be pet-esque.
Yeah, like I've got one hen. She's a Rhode Island Red. Her name's Penny because she's, copper color, right? So what do you call her?
Obviously.
Not Penny. And she likes to be held, so I'll hold Penny. You can pick her up and hold her, like the Heisman chicken kind of thing.
The Heisman chicken.
The Heisman chicken.
When-
I got pictures.
I like it.
It's what we do on the farm, Pete.
I'm going to move a second from Heisman chicken.
Maybe that's
Because all of
for
a
the
sudden,
best.
because you've been through some rough patches,
Yes, sir.
right? And I want everybody to know, like that's what I. It's real easy to hear about the good stuff, but there's
Oh,
been
yeah.
some rough stuff, like
There's
which in my opinion is the number one chisel in making the art is the rough ones. Like that's what makes the
100%.
big moves.
Yeah, I mean, there's no diamond if there's no polishing, right? So I think everybody who has a dynamic personality, an interesting character, there's always a story there. And that's
Yeah.
partly what you do here is, you find interesting people. Thank you for considering me one. And invite them on and talk about all sorts of random things that people would find interesting. Every person that you do this with has some sort of checkered background, something that helped shape them, form them, mold them that probably wasn't pleasant.
We all should have.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, something's very wrong.
Well, and buckle up because it's coming your way real soon.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna
You know.
I look at people like that. My father died at 13.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom died at 32.
Wait. You
I
were
was 13.
I was about to say.
And then I was 32, so he was 47 and 64.
yeah.
So I've had a long time. I've had 20 years without either parent at this point. But like I look at stuff like where you look at people, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but you talk about like, I've got both my grandparents still at home, and you're just like,
Well, death
like
is a part of life.
It's coming. Like it's just
Yeah.
like at least sometimes was maybe spread a little more.
Well, the older I get, and I'm sure you can relate to this, it's life is it's a two-sided coin, right? For every bit of good, there's an equal offsetting bad, and that's okay. That's part of the beauty of life. You know, we all are so thankful, and maybe praise Jesus for all the wonderful things in life, right? But who really stops and thanks God for His providence when things go wrong? Like, thank you for giving me adversity, so I've got something to overcome, something to make me better.
Yeah.
You know, the real mature person has it in them to be thankful in the face of that kind of adversity.
Yep.
Do you believe in the universal bank? Do you make deposits?
Oh, you talking about like karma?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. You know, I'm more in the Jesus camp.
And which is I believe that you
Similar
is-
type of.
You know, whether it's Christianity or any of the other world religions, I
Right.
think all of them, by and large, have a lot of those kind of similarities.
Yeah.
You know, do unto others as you would have done unto you. No question.
good evil.
Yeah. And trust me, there is absolutely good and evil in this world. And we're at war with it every day. It's coming
Every
at you.
day.
Every day.
Every day. No matter how you look at it.
There's no life without adversity. You know, there's no hero without a villain. There's no comeback without the setback, right? James Brown, I love a quote from him. He said, "How you going to get on up if you ain't never been down?"
Yeah.
Amen. I don't pray for the setback, but it happens. You know, I give you an example, a recent one, just in the past, a little over a year. After my parents died at the end of 2022, I wanted a big goal, something large to do. So I decided I was going to climb Grand Teton, 14,000 feet, highest peak in the Grand Teton Range out in Wyoming.
We go.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big thing. You know, the brochure was great, but I'm terrified of heights. We'll get into that
Pretty
in a
big
moment.
mountain, bro.
It's 14,000 feet is no joke. And it's technical climbing. It's not a strenuous hike. It's ropes and hardware
Those
and
things.
harnesses.
Kicking those things
Not
ice.
Well, there was ice. It was August. It was still icy, but it wasn't that kind of thing. Anyway, where were we going with this?
You're climbing the Tetons.
Yeah, you know, finding the adversity in life and trying to overcome it, giving yourself big things to do. No, there was a point.
Because
to
your
this.
parents died and you decided to go to the Grand, you decided to climb
You
them.
were
and
talking about a setback that you've had recently.
Thank you.
There
that,
it was.
That was the point.
Yep.
Sorry.
Marnie showing up with all the details.
She's the bro.
It's-
She keeps us. Keeps the
She's
car
a great
on-
listener.
Keeps the car on the.
Nice ears, Marnie.
2 ears, one mouth.
She keeps the car on the road, bro. Without her, it'd be
Indeed. Hey, my wife is the same. For
We know.
sure. For sure.
call out to Christy. She's wonderful.
So the setback. Shortly after I had signed up and paid for this trip to climb Grand Teton, I broke my damn leg. And it wasn't fancy, right? I slipped on some ice on my steps in front of my house and just snapped my left leg. And it's like, great, I've got 4 months before I've got to climb this mountain. How am I going to do this? Well, I just did. You stay at it, you know, go into the gym. I mean, obviously I had to heal for a number of weeks, but as soon as the doctor said, maybe shortly before, you're okay to get back into the gym, I was there. It's a reflection of who we are, right? The mountain climb was a great thing to give myself a goal. But I think Jesus said, I don't know that that's enough, son. Here's a broken leg. Now go and do it.
Right.
Let's see what you really got. Let's see. So you know what I did? I put my workout shoes on and I went to the gym and I got my ass ready. I trained properly for it. And then we went and we conquered that mountain. And it was the most terrifying thing I have ever done. Hands down. I don't even want to get on.
And rewarding.
When I got to the top of that mountain, I lost it. I mean, tears. I couldn't hold it together. Now, the beauty of this moment for me was I also had my mom and my sister's ashes in my pocket.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you lost your sister too.
Well, I lost my sister in 2018, unfortunately, from overdose.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, thank you. painkillers, right?
Yeah.
They're very dangerous.
They are.
And
It's a real problem.
it really is. Unfortunately for her, I mean, it was unintentional. She wasn't a pill head. She just had a lot of back pain, and the doctors threw painkillers at her over and over and over. You know.
We produce a podcast for a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And he had on one of his people and he was talking about how he got into chiropractic because his father was a contractor, hurt his back on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And he remembers, like, they just kept feeding him pills and pills
Yep.
and pills to the point where he actually died of sepsis because he had gangrene. He never felt it.
He had gangrene on his colon
He
because he
couldn't go to the
relieve
bathroom, but he
himself
never
because
felt
of
the pain.
The drugs, and
Yep.
but never
Like,
felt the pain.
What does that
Golly.
sound like? Horror?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
like
terrible.
And that's from like Doc's just we talk all the time about it. I'm like, bro, your message of just try something else.
Yes.
And it's just there's so much more out there of just at least give it a try. Like we talked about marijuana today of just like this bad, horrible stigma of, and it's like I'm a proponent of it. I've always been.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
It's like you look at these things like just give something else a try. Go to a chiropractor, try some marijuana. I understand some things
Yeah.
are out of it, but just like this shit'll kill you.
Well,
It'll fucking kill you.
I had a front row seat to various types of addiction. Not only did my sister pass away from painkillers, my mother developed she was a bad alcoholic at the last few years of her life.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it like if you've ever seen real DTs, like real strapped to the bed for days, like out of your mind kind of DTs.
It's alcohol.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Nobody does that
No.
from pot.
No.
You-
It ravages the body
Man.
the way nothing else does.
We have
You
some
know.
good friends that are both medical professionals, and they said you haven't seen anything until you see someone detox from alcohol.
And
Like
I've watched it
heroin,
repeatedly.
it's just like
And so and those were some of my early traumas. My mother's alcoholism didn't spiral out of control until the past few years of her life. But they were ugly, ugly, ugly years. And those sort of things, I mean, they shape us, right?
Yeah.
they're the largest blows.
100%. And there are things that, it's kind of like being a parent. If you're not a parent, it's hard to explain to somebody who's not a parent what it's like. There are certain things in our stories, and we all have them, where you just have to experience it. You just have to go through that to really know. You could read about it, and somebody could tell you about it, but until it's you just don't know.
Yeah.
Watching a parent self-destruct with alcohol is one of those.
I bet.
It's interesting. I went from giving my mother's eulogy straight to the hospital on that Sunday afternoon to sit with my father and have the doctor tell him that he was terminal with cancer and he had maybe a month
Wow.
left. Same day.
Wow.
Uppercut and then a cross. That's yeah.
You want to know why I decided to go climb a mountain? There it is.
There it is.
I went to Japan, so I know your mountain. Same thing. Like I went to Japan for a month. It's like I get the hell out of here. I got to do something completely alien
Yeah.
to me, and because I can't process this, and I need to look at something from a completely different perspective that's going to so twist. And I want to go somewhere that people can understand me. They don't mountain.
Yes.
Like you've lived the life, pal. I knew there was like, I was like, this man's seasoned.
I've seen a few things.
You have?
Well, I lived in the Galápagos Islands for a number of months. I worked for the Charles Darwin Research Foundation shortly after college. That was an interesting experience.
That must have been an interesting experience.
So
really
you
was.
have a business degree, but you're working for the
Well, I was
It's
working.
Grown Legs.
I was working in the entomology department. Entomology is the study of insects. So I was working in the entomology department because, the family pest control company, it just made sense, right? Let me study business. I'll work with the bugs, make some good contacts, learn a few things. And that's been my experience in life is one thing leads to the next, right? And there's not always a great strategy. It's just, let's just go do this. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Who knows what comes next?
Yeah.
Who knows what comes next?
In this particular case, the professor I had been working for a couple of years came to me and he said, after you graduate, you got plans? Because the professors at the Charles Darwin Research Foundation are looking for someone with your skills to come and work for them for a season. Sure, man. You mean I don't have to go to work for the family pest control business yet? Absolutely.
And I get to go to an island?
Yeah. It was super cool. Eventually, I had to leave. I couldn't stay there. I knew my life wasn't in the Galapagos Islands. That was a thing that you did.
It's not real life.
That's right. And I
That's
knew
going to be
it.
the name of this podcast. My life was not in the Galapagos.
It's truth. Although
There's the
I've
name.
wondered, because actually the folks at the research center came to me before I left and said, look, we actually want you to stay, and we'll actually pay you to stay. You know, the stuff you've done, we need you to keep going. You know, would you be willing? And, you know, it's like the old Robert Frost poem, you know, the two paths diverged in the wood, and I
Yep.
took the one less traveled, and it's made all the difference. Well, I don't know that I took the one less traveled. I said, thanks, but no thanks, I'm going home. Now, I'd like to tell you that had something to do with the family business, but it was more like I had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, it's always about that, isn't it?
it's always bad.
Yeah, I came home, and shortly thereafter, I was like, that's not going to work. But the truth is, I had already met my future wife, who my father had hired, by the way. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
a
she's
little office romance.
Yeah, man, she's a redhead. You know, I'm a sucker. I was like, we got to do this. You know, well,
She's a sweetie. You
Oh,
gotta.
she's a looker.
yeah. Well, that's why I married her twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I was gonna go there. I was
I
like, you know
love
what?
that bitch.
You do.
I'm gonna bury her next time. And when I've told her that, she said, "Not if I don't bury you first."
And that's what I tell my
why
I'm
she's
like,
great.
I hope I hope
And
I
that's
go
why
first.
she's great.
I don't want it. She wrangled you, pal.
I just heard you say this. You hope you die first.
I don't want to be without her.
Man, you know what? I said that exact same thing to Christy. Baby, I hope I die first. It was a tender moment, right? And she pats me and she says,
I hope you do too.
No, she says, don't worry. I'm sure you will. Like, what do you know that I don't know?
Sure you will.
Right?
Something in your drink.
Listen, man, you know, hell hath no fury.
Bro, there's nothing scarier.
No, it's not.
Women are terrifying. Women are scary.
Yeah.
They're scary. Like, I tip my hat to you, ladies.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
win. You win scariness. I want to hit on something else really quick because
Sure.
it was something that we had in common. We're both fans of Ancient Aliens.
Giorgio,
I love Giorgio Tsoukalos.
it's the haircut, bro.
It is. It is incredible.
Yeah. I think that's gel.
You have stated you record said series sometimes.
Well-
Back in the day.
Yeah, well, it's and Netflix, you know, so you can just kind of watch it on demand. But I'm with you.
You like it.
I do. Watched it last night.
Now, you're a religious man,
I am.
which is okay because even Eric von Donigan, which the whole
Yes, Chariots of the Gods.
he is a Catholic and to this day is a Christian and says
And
I
speaks
still
of it.
And there can be both.
I agree.
What is some of the ancient alien theory that you really have adopted? Just be like, that shit's real, man.
I'd
And
like
then I'm
the-
going to give you a gift
Okay.
from the show
Ooh.
that has appeared on the show. This exact thing has appeared on the show, but a substance like it has appeared
Okay.
that I had to find, and I found it on the internet just to see myself. What is that stuff like?
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it to you, my friend.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
cool. Thank you.
I
In
know because
advance.
I saw it. I'm like, nobody else would appreciate this, but you.
Okay. Well,
He's terrified.
I mean, you know.
Ancient alien theory.
Yeah.
Which one just goes, man? I believe that. Like for me, it's like Tiwanaku and that stuff in Peru is like, come on.
You talking about like the carved stones and how they
Yeah.
tightly fit together? It's so interesting. That's what you pick because me too. How can you deny? There's just no way that apparently millennia ago, right? Like anybody really knows that humans did that by themselves. You know, these gigantic stones that weigh, you know, hundreds of tons and are so tightly fitted that you can't
With
slide a piece of
primitive
paper.
tools.
Yeah. Like,
Or
no
reverse,
way.
because you worked in the trades before. You've
Yes.
seen cutting, and
Sure.
you've seen milling,
Absolutely.
and you've seen lasers, and
Mm-hmm.
you've seen all types of shit. I'm sure there's shit that you see that would turn me blue. Like I'd be like, holy shit, that's incredible.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff out there.
You see that shit, those internal cuts,
Yeah.
that stuff that's precise, stuff's fitting inside of each other like Lincoln logs.
Yep. Like the H monoliths, where it's like there's layers of carvings and they're like perfect 90-degree. Like,
Pumapunku, you mean Pumapunku?
bro, you're studied up. Like genuinely studied up.
He's into it.
I truly believe that stuff.
I'm
man.
mostly sleeping while it's on.
Oh.
I
mean,
am too.
It's not that I don't enjoy it. I'll tell you what it is, Pete. You remember it was The Universe. It was a show on History Channel, and I think it was Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Who's always playing God
Yeah.
on television,
Uh-huh.
right?
That's the voice.
It must be. So I think there's something about it's really calming.
Yeah.
He's got that even tone.
Yeah.
You know, step into the universe.
Yeah.
So it's, wow, this is really interesting. It's great. It's very peaceful.
It is very peaceful stuff, and it's I don't know. It's fun to think.
It is.
It's nice
do you
rabbit
think,
holes.
Do you think that we're in the generation where there will be first contact while we're alive?
I think there's been contact already.
Official first contact. Like, because I'm totally with you. Absolutely. Government, I know you're listening. I know that you know. And by the way, I lost all my guns in a boating accident. They're all gone.
Mine were with his.
Yeah, they're all gone. I don't even
By
remember
the
what
way,
lake.
I have that T-shirt that says I lost all my guns in a boating accident.
Yeah.
does.
Well,
I do.
I really lost mine.
I did too.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yes.
Which I don't
Even the
remember.
one that's no longer in my truck.
Even the one that I do not carry with me
Yeah.
ever on me. With my no.
I hope that's not the gift for later.
It is not. It is not. I think. Oh, actually, the gift is now. I'm going to give it to you.
Oh.
So on this one of the science episodes, they talk about a substance called aerogel.
Okay.
It's the lightest solid substance, and I was dying because they chose them playing with it, and I got some.
Interesting. May I?
Yes, it's yours. That's aerogel. So it's
It's warm. This has been in your pocket.
Don't eat them.
No, it's warm aerogel.
It's like M&Ms. They're nice. They're nice and squishy.
They're okay to handle?
Yeah.
What-
Yeah.
so-
it's just like it's some type of substance. They use it for like insulation on the. But crazy feeling is that you've seen it.
It's almost transparent. You can
Yeah.
see
It's
through
the
it.
lightest solid substance.
Is this the stuff? And I think I've seen where they put like a acetylene torch to it, and they heat it up like glowing, and then within seconds they can pick it up.
Yeah.
Really?
It was
Where
on
did
the
you
show.
get this?
I just it really sparked my interest. I'm winning weird shit like that, bro. Like, and it sparked my
got
interest. I'm
it
like,
on
so I found
Amazon.
it on Amazon. That little thing was like $30, and I've been playing with it for years. But I saw you. I'm like, you would appreciate it. So it's for you. I love you.
Thank you. I appreciate
That's
that.
my gift for you being on the show because I think you'd be like the fact that you say there's acetylene to it. I'm like,
You know what this reminds me of? Years ago, my father had a manager work for him, and he was a former naval sub commander. And he had a styrofoam cup that was about that tall, and it had writing on it, like the date that it went down some test, depth, and the ship that it was on, all the details. And it was tiny, and I'm like, I've never seen a cup so tiny. He said, well, son, it was a normal-sized cup until we took it to the bottom of the ocean, and now it's like that, the size of a thimble. It's a styrofoam cup. Anyway.
did he give it to you?
It was one of those things that was in his office when he decided to leave. So, yes, you could say that. Like I inherited that stuff.
That's creepy. Imagine what it's doing to their insides.
You know what I mean? I just,
I
I'd
couldn't
rather
be
be
in
on
it. I
top of a mountain than at the bottom of an ocean.
No way.
How about the folks who went down?
No way.
The Titanic stuff?
The submersible?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Like, did you ever hear the sound of it
That's
imploding?
so-
It's like, come on. That's people. That's his brain squirting out his butt.
Way. Could you imagine putting them in there and then them drilling you into that thing in that like big looks like
No.
a fucking diaphragm?
No, man. Listen.
Oh.
I
Who
would
goes in there?
Right, exactly.
Who does that?
That's stupid in the first place.
That is the
No.
dumbest shit.
Yes.
You could not bolt me in. No.
Yeah.
No.
Aliens are real, and I'm not going in the.
I'm not
to the
going in a submersible.
Helicopter. I'm not going in. I won't go in a helicopter either.
I mean, I've been there. It's cool. It's neat, man. You should try that. I flew over the
bro.
Amazon rainforest in a tiny little bush plane. Landed on the side of a mountain on like a little mud runway, right? And then lived with the Shuar Indian tribe for the next 15 days. That's for you if you don't recognize, that's the head shrinking tribe of the Amazon.
Were they nice?
Yes, actually. They sure were.
Did they shrink any heads while you were there?
They say they don't do that anymore, right? They have been modernized, I guess you'd say, at least to some degree. But the truth is, they probably still do have like some beef between these tribes in the jungle, and
Every once in a while, someone has to get their head shrunk.
probably.
You know what? It's good to send a message.
Yeah, well, it's unofficial head shrinking. Officially, that's over.
Sometimes you just got to send a message.
Yeah,
And sometimes someone has to get their head shrunk.
yeah. But it was a super cool experience.
I was going to say, can we go back to how this happened?
How did you get in
Had a good friend who was he did a lot of mission work, but his gig was, look, we're going to do mission work, but the rule is you don't bring more than you can run with, because the places we're going and the things that we're doing, it's not always very safe. So I've done mission work in the past, but it's never been the sort of thing where it's the whole church group and we all got matching tie-dye T-shirts.
Right.
It's
Right.
It's more like when the dude with the gun.
the streets of Detroit?
Yeah, we've been to some really shady places where when the guy with the machine gun walks up to the car to check you, don't take pictures.
Right.
Right. So anyway, this friend of mine says, hey, let's go do this mission work. I've got a long-term missionary living in Ecuador, and He's working with this Indian tribe in the Amazon, needs some help building a church for these folks. So I said yes. And me and this fella went to Ecuador, flew into the Amazon rainforest in this little bitty bush plane, which, by the way, quick funny story, as we're coming down to land, I'm already nervous because I'm thinking we're all going to die. There's apparently a proximity warning. When you get 10 feet off the ground in a little bitty Cessna plane, it goes off. I had to change my britches because I didn't realize that was going to happen. I thought we were going to die.
Yeah, I flew traffic for a while, so like
Yeah?
the roads on 275 are backed all the way up.
Did you really?
Yeah, and it was
Where?
Tampa, Florida.
That's kind of cool, man.
I've like you, bro. Like that's
Come
what I'm
on.
saying.
Well, listen,
I've lived.
We have got to hear your intro. Like, I know you had like a shtick. Like, what was your...
my name was I was Buzz with your Sky Thunder update. So it would be like 275 is backed all the way up from the Howard Armenia exit. Like if you're trying to go over the Howard Franklin Bridge, you can plan on just kind of pulling off the side of the road and looking at that beautiful sunset. This is your Sky Thunder update. I'm Buzz. Back to you. Maybe shit like that.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean I haven't done that in 30 years, but
Was Buzz your idea?
Buzz was that call sign. Then I was just Pete for like WFLA. So it'd be like, I'm Pete with WFLA traffic. And like you would just
See,
kind of.
it's the voice, man. It's the Pete.
Yeah, you
got
drop
that.
them all.
WFLA.
WFLA traffic. And it's like you trap and Buzz was a little bit more like, hey guys, it's Buzz with your Sky Thunder update. So he kind of sounded a little bit more nerdy.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was like, WFLA traffic.
Anybody ever like make fun of your stinger?
Buzz? No. I had a couple people try to grab it.
That's
And
how
I
you
was
get
like,
stung. You know what I mean?
Hey, ming ya. Watch out.
Right.
It'll bite you.
Coming at you real quick.
You've lived, Bal. Like it's good.
Yeah.
That's why the mentorship
Yeah.
makes sense. Like, and it's why, like,
Yeah.
we've diverted a little bit. We went around like a big bubble. Then we're coming
Yeah.
back on. I want to know. So we've gone to Ecuador. We've talked about your parents. We've talked about Ancient Aliens. We've gotten to know Corey. Like, this is the dankest of the dank hangs.
Well, thank you. It's very danky.
It's danky. Thank you for saying that.
Dankalicious.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
How do we get back on? So you have your dad's business. You're just about to sell it.
Yeah. So,
The world's about to explode.
well, COVID is what happened.
We all know it.
But before COVID, circa 2019, I've got 6 businesses that I'm operating. It was a lot. It was exciting. It was fun. It was. They're all growing. They're all doing really well. It's awesome. Time of my life. But COVID hit, and we survived it. You know, we did okay. But there was an immense pressure. There's all of these people, all of these families looking at me, going, "Boss, what are we going to do? Are we going to be okay?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just my employees. Hell, I'm coming home, and my wife, "Are we going to be okay?"
Mm-hmm.
It was a hell of a lot of pressure. And I think in that season, I just said to myself, you know, I think I'm done. I've been doing this now for nearly 25 years. In my entire adult life, ever since I was old enough to do this, to be the entrepreneur, I've been that. I think I want to maybe look for something different. And shortly after, private equity got very hungry, and I started getting a lot of phone calls about selling my companies. And it just kind of came together. The valuations were incredibly high, historically high. And so I sold off almost all of my companies. Now, I was very practiced at mergers and acquisition at that point. Over the years, I had bought and sold more than 24 various companies, mostly pest control, but anything from wildlife, insulation, plumbing, dabbled in roofing for a season. There's been a lot, right? So I just decided I'm selling them all, made great money in that season, and reinvested it into commercial real estate, which is what I do today. Now I'm a landlord. In fact, I was going to wear my shirt that said rent's due, but that seemed tasteless. So, you know, we'll
I like it.
leave that for another time.
I like it.
But it's a much quieter lifestyle. Now, to get to the coaching part, over the years, I was in contact with an awful lot of people. I had a lot of employees, a lot of vendors, and just general relationships. People knew that I was in business for myself, and I just started getting phone calls. Hey, Corey, I'd like to take you to lunch. I need to pick your brain. That's what it always sounds like. So I've done an awful lot of lunches. The coaching thing, candidly, like I don't even ask people to pay me to do this. Like I just do it. It's almost like my give back, like my tithe. Now I don't want to be taken advantage of, right? Like I can't. There's a limit to that because in this season of my life, I want to be selfish with my time.
Sure.
Not because I don't want to help others, but because I want to be present for my teenage daughters. You know, I want to be present for my wife and my family and what we're working on.
The F's.
Yeah, that's right. But I like the coaching because it gives me a way to put to good use all of the lessons I've learned over all these years. And it's helping other people. And going back to the karma question earlier on, I do believe that what you send out, you're going to get back.
Yeah.
Make deposits.
Yeah, like what you give is what you get.
Yep.
You know, it's like love.
You believe in it.
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
You got to give love to get love.
Yep.
You believe in it.
Yeah, so
believes it.
it's been mostly friends, but it's escalated. I mean, I get calls from people around the country now, out of the blue. Like, dude, I heard about you, or I saw this podcast, or whatever the hell it happens to be. And man, can I talk to you for a little while? Sure, buddy, let's talk about it a little while. And I'll tell you what almost always happens. The real issues aren't what they think are the real issues or not the real issues.
Always.
We almost always end up talking about their personal lives rather than their business, because the business is in reflection of the other issues that they have, and those issues aren't problems with the business. They're problems with either their head or their heart. Whoa. The problem's you, buddy. And if we can identify that in you and you can fix that way of thinking, speaking, or acting, then it's going to manifest in your business. It's going to manifest in your relationships, your life in general. Yeah. Let's fix you so that you can fix everything else. Because I can't fix your business for you. I can help you fix you, though.
Yeah.
Which in turn will reflect on. It's everything is a domino effect.
Yeah.
And like you live up to simple things, like you put it down to the 5 F's. And if those things are in alignment, i.e. the stars or whatever else, like alignment's great. Like things don't wobble.
Yes.
When you have things in alignment, your shit don't wobble.
Yeah, wobble, resonant yaw. That's a
resonant yaw.
You familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're a pilot.
Well, I like to fly. I don't.
Yeah.
I can do it. Yeah. Resonant yaw is your is the pitch of what is it like? It's your.
So it's like rocketry, like rocket science. So when that rocket starts to wobble, it starts to resonate. That yaw, and it gets louder and louder until it flies out of control.
Just like in the Martian, when they start to get that little vibration, like we're okay, we're intolerant, and it gets past the resonant yaw and kaboomo.
Like the motorcyclist on the crotch rocket going way too fast, and then he's out of control.
Yep.
And that's what happens in life, right? We allow these little things to get involved in us, and usually unintentionally.
True.
But they create that wobble, and that wobble turns into your whole everything flying out of control. And and nobody ever starts off with that, right? Like, oh, it was minor. It was just a small thing. I didn't think. Of course you didn't think. Right. So
I just had this conversation with a really good friend. We just had it. And you're talking about these like this and that. He goes, man, I really feel it's age. It's like age has strapped on. It's like you see those new things in boats. So you can put them in a boat and it keeps the boat from getting seasick. It's like that big weight in the middle. It's like a gyroscope basically. It's like we've gotten those as we gotten older. Like they strap them on us. Maybe it's the bald. Maybe it's getting bald or whatever the hell it is, but like it's like those compasses are more like we're good. Like you just kind of like you can move past, and you don't have that resonant yaw anymore to the point where you wobble. You could just go.
Some of it, I think, is attributable to us finally realizing who we are.
Yeah.
And part of that is taking the years necessary to realize who we are not. You know, I don't know that I can tell you whose quote it was, but I think there's wisdom in if you can figure out who you're not, by default, you're going to figure out who you are. I think it was Matthew McConaughey, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Be cooler,
Iconic, isn't he?
Be cooler if you did.
Damn right. As soon as these cameras go off.
Dude, be cooler if you
We'll
did.
go look for those guns we've lost in the lake.
We're going to look for all. I'm going to show you all those guns.
We'll
I
have to
lost
take
in the
your
lake.
boat because I lost
Pictures.
that too.
There's just pictures of them. Pictures, old memories, Kodachromes.
Yeah, they're rusted out now. It's irrelevant.
You're on the right path, pal. I don't have to tell you that.
Thank you.
And it's really nice to hear somebody that's takes ownership and kicks the shit out of it.
Well,
that's what you do.
Thank you for saying so, Pete. I'm trying my best. I want to leave a legacy that I can be proud of. You know, I think it's something that you got to work at every day. It's one step at a time. And to go back to the comment that you made about our anchor, our being centered, and I do think that comes with age. I find myself being less and less concerned about the things that I was so very concerned about as a younger man.
1,000%.
Yeah, I just realized that they're irrelevant. They don't matter.
It's almost comical.
Yeah.
You look at you're almost like, I can't believe I
Well, and it kind of begs the question, like, if every 10 years you look back and you go, God, what was I thinking? Does that ever stop? Are you like 80 eventually and you go, what was I was 70. What was I thinking? Surely it can't go
I
on
hope
forever.
it doesn't.
I don't think so.
I don't. Think you get to a point where you either become curmudgeon-y to the point where it almost collapses on itself.
I don't want to be that.
I think the generations before us showed us how not to be. Like where,
Preach.
bro. Like we're talking about, like we talked about your truck.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. I don't begrudge you. I don't look at anything like you've earned it.
Thank you.
Because I honestly know in my heart of hearts, you're the type of person where it's nothing.
The John Deere's way more fun than the truck.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
And you told me I could try. I can't wait to do the front load.
Come on out to the farm, man. We'll shovel some chicken shit.
You're more than
I can't wait.
I'll help you because you know what, man? It'll be a lot of fun doing it with you.
I got some Liberty overalls that'll fit you.
I can't wait.
I might even have a straw hat.
Excellent.
And you are more my friend than a truck and a tractor. You're a solid human, and you make deposits, and that's what makes that stuff. You look at it, it's like it's not the guy, it's not the truck, it's the dude in it. That's you, pal.
Thank you, buddy.
Like, and that's what this podcast is about. Like, everybody out there, if you're there's giants walk among us. This guy's one. He's your guy. I met him at a premiere of OnKit. We had him on.
Yeah, that's right.
He did Surya and talk about being blown away.
Mm. He's a good buddy of mine.
I know he is. That's the tie through
like
this.
15 years we've been friends.
And it's, giants hang out with giants.
Truth.
Where else are you going to find cups so big to feed us all?
Eagles don't fly with ducks.
So very true.
And on that, we're going to get eagle titties now. We're going to sign off. We're going to get some nice and eagle titties on that one. Guys, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back. You're going to be on. I promise you, we're going to have Corey back.
Love to. Say when.